Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to today's lesson. Today, we're going to be talking about job evaluations. Does anybody know what an evaluation is? Every 3 years, Katie and Janae complete an evaluation on every student at Pathways. Now, this is not a job evaluation, but it is kind of a test or assessment to see where you are at, to tell what you're doing really, really good at, what you might need a little bit of help with, and what you might need even more help with. So when you have an evaluation at work, they're looking at some of the same things, trying to look at what you are doing very well at work, what you might need help doing at work, and what areas you have for improvement. I'm going to go ahead and share our story with you today, and I want you to pay attention to the different things supervisors are looking at in the story. But I also want you to think about how your mom or dad or family member might look at some of these things at home, because your assignment that goes with this activity, I can show you right here on this paper, your assignment that goes with this activity is doing a mock or pretend job evaluation. I'll show you that at the end of the story here today. So the article we're reading is called Job Evaluations. And you can see the picture at the top of the page is just a happy face and a sad face, which basically shows you that you can do good or bad. But most evaluations don't say that you did either really good or really bad. They're going to tell you somewhere in between and what you can do to get better. One good thing to keep in mind as we read the story is that evaluations are to help tell you how you're doing and to help tell you what you can get better at. So the information we get from evaluations might be difficult to hear, but it's important for us to know where we can improve. Once you get the right job, you will want to keep that job. Your supervisor will use a job evaluation to see how you are doing at your job. A job evaluation is like a grade for your job. If your job evaluation is good, you will keep your job. If your job evaluation is not good, your supervisor or your boss might ask you to do a better job, or you might lose your job. So right here it says that your job evaluation is like a grade. So similar to when we do evaluations at school or we do any schoolwork at school, we usually give you a grade, or say if you're making progress with the letter P, my camera's mirrored so I can't figure out how to sign into it. If you've met a goal with the letter M, or if you made insufficient progress with the letter I. So that's how we evaluate how you're doing on IEP objectives. Another thing that we might do similar to an evaluation is when we record data on your IEP objectives and we mark what prompting level you used. So when we say level 1, I did it all by myself, or I was independent, awesome. Level 2, I did it with just some reminders. A 3, I needed a little bit of help to do it. Or a 4, someone did it with me because I needed more help. So that's another way we evaluate your progress on your goals. It's very much like how they evaluate you at work. They're going to tell you if you're doing your job well or if you need to improve. There are many things you can do to get a good evaluation. You need to look and act appropriately. So they're looking at your appearance, how your face and your hair looks, and your behavior. You need to stay on task at work. That means you need to focus on what you're doing and not get distracted. You need to follow directions. So if your supervisor or a lead coworker asks you to do something, you need to listen. You need to ask for help if you need it. We practice this a lot at school. It is okay to ask for help, and you should ask for help if you need it. This section is talking about looking and acting appropriately. Looking at the pictures, we can tell we're going to talk about our clothes. I see a thumbs up smiley, so that must be attitude. And these two look like they're being polite to each other. Ways that we can look and act appropriately at work include wearing clean clothes and following our dress code. Some jobs you can wear a t-shirt, other jobs you might need to wear a suit, jacket, or a uniform. You also need to make sure that your face is clean and that your hands and body are clean, so you look and smell nice. Poor hygiene can make other people not want to work near you. Body odor can be disruptive and distracting to others, so it is very important that we look and smell nice at work. I have some really cool daily grooming checklists that I know a lot of you have used that you can use every morning to go through and check off everything you did to get ready for school or for work. When we talk about acting appropriately, we're using good manners and being polite. So we're talking when it's our turn to talk. We're using the words please and thank you. And we're following the rules or expectations at work. We talk a lot about rules and why they're important, but the number one reason we have rules is so everyone is safe. So it's important that we always follow the rules at work. And if we don't understand a rule, we can always ask. Down here at the bottom of the page, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because it talks about staying on task. What does that mean? If you are on task, it means that you do your work until it is done. So we're going to pretend that this little guy over here is working on a puzzle. If he is on task, how long will he work on that puzzle? 5 minutes, 2 minutes, or until it's finished? He will work on it until it is finished. He is going to work on it until it is done. That's the same with any job that you're doing. If you have a job working at a fast food restaurant, you have to work on preparing your order until it is done. Otherwise, how will your customer feel? I bet a little bit angry. Being on tasks means that you'll only do assigned jobs while at work. That means our friend over here doing the puzzle is focusing on the puzzle while it's done, no matter what else happens. If his friend next to him says, hey, why don't we tell some jokes? He'll say, no, I need to focus on my task and finish this puzzle before I do anything else. Being on task means that we will wait until break time to use our phone. So our friend doing the puzzle over here is not going to pick up his phone to make a call until this puzzle is complete. Being on task means that you talk to coworkers only about work. If a coworker comes up to our friend in the red and says, hey, what do you want to do for lunch? He can say, I'm sorry, I need to focus on my work right now. Can we talk during our lunch break? And last but not least, ignore other distractions. If there are noises or activities going on around you, try to ignore them. If that's difficult for you to do, you have a lot of different options. I like to use, and these aren't official noise canceling, but it does help me. I like to use headphones to tune out other noise. You can also set up a whiteboard or divider, or ask for your own office or maybe cubicle or cubby, quiet area to work so you're not as easily distracted. All right. It's important to follow directions from your supervisor at work. When you follow directions, you must. Now, these are all tips for following directions and listening. You must look at the person who is speaking to you. It shows you're listening if you're looking at them. You should listen to what the person says. You need to listen closely so you can repeat the directions back to them if needed. You need to ask questions if you need more information. If the person gave you a direction and you don't know where to find the supplies or how to do it, you need to ask. You can say, I need help, or I don't understand, or can you show me how? If you do understand, tell the person you understand, then do what the person tells you to do. Sometimes you will need help at work, and this could be understanding directions. You might need help reading directions, lifting a box, or finding something. So reading directions to complete a task might be complicated. You can ask a coworker to help. Lifting a box or carrying something heavy might require you to have another person help you, or to ask if you can get a cart or a tool to help move something. And then the last one is finding something. I was at Pathways last week and I looked everywhere to find paper to laminate with, and I couldn't find it. So you know what I did? I asked my coworkers, do you know where the laminating paper is? And they found it right away. Yay! It's okay to need help with your job sometimes. Your supervisor or your coworkers, or if we're talking about school, your classmates can help you. If you need help, you need to find a person who can help, then say, excuse me, can you please help me with whatever you need help with? Wait for the person to answer and say thank you. If you ask someone for help and they don't know how to help you, they will probably help you find someone who can. Remember, your supervisor wants you to do a good job. They want you to stay on task, to focus on your work, to follow directions, and to ask for help if you need it. If you do these things, you will get a good evaluation and you'll keep your job. We are going to skip ahead and look at some common job evaluations. Then I will show you the form I'm going to have you complete. So these are some things that they are going to look at when they're doing an evaluation. First off is appropriate social interactions. This is how you talk to and get along with coworkers. Do you think that it is good to be polite to others, or good to tease your coworkers? If you want a good job evaluation, you better be polite to others. When your boss or supervisor is looking at how hard you work, they're going to look and see if you started working right away. So that means when you got to work before they tell you to get going, that you began following your schedule, and that you stay on task, that you're not messing around, that you're focusing on your work. Do you think your supervisor is going to give you a good score for being distracted or a good score for focusing on your work? You're going to do better on your evaluation if you focus on your work. Next is following directions. Should you follow directions at work? Or should you tell your boss you don't feel like working? I'm going to take a nap. No, you should do your job like you're supposed to. Okay. Should you ask for help if you need help? Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Let's see. If you need help, should you act confused, but don't tell anyone? Or should you tell your boss that you need help with a new task? How are you going to get help? You have to ask. You need to ask your boss or a coworker if you need help with a new task. The next thing your boss is going to look at is your work quality. We didn't talk a whole lot about quality, but when we talk about quality, we're looking at how good you do at your work. Are you doing your very best, or are you just doing it to get it done? Will your boss say your work quality is good if you finish a job, but you don't check it to make sure it's done right? Or will your work quality be better if you finish your job and you double check to make sure it was done well? You should always double check your work. So if you are in charge of sweeping the kitchen or cafeteria, before you put your supplies away, you should make sure you did a good job and didn't miss any spots. Or if you're doing paperwork, you want to double check and make sure you filed everything in the right place. Next is work pace. Pace means speed. How fast do you work? Do you get your work done on time? That means you follow your schedule, you do your work, and when it's due, it's done. Or do you take a lot of breaks and kind of do what you want and finish your work when you feel like it? Which one is good? Taking a lot of breaks or getting your work done on time? You better get your work done on time. Nice job. All right, this is the last thing I'm going to show you. This is your daily job training evaluation. We have done these at Pathways for students that have jobs. This is what your form looks like. You just get to fill it in with your own information. I printed out a form to give you, and what I'd like you to do is pick a job. With your family's help, pick a job for you to be responsible for at home. If it's a job you've never done before, make sure you have a chance to do it a couple times so you can train, so you know what you're doing. But what you need to do on this page is put your name, the date that you are working, what your training site is. It could be dishes, it could be the laundry room, the kitchen, it could even be your bedroom. You can make it fun and say you're working at a restaurant and you're serving a meal to your family. Whatever you'd like to do to make it fun, but I would like you to choose a job to do. And then your job trainer would be whoever is going to be your supervisor or boss for this experiment. And you're going to get scored on how much help you need, which is a lot like how we do it in school. We're going to look at your social interactions, how you talk to your coworkers, if you followed your schedule and stayed on task, if you listen and follow directions, you ask for help if you need it, you do your best work, you check it over when you're done to make sure you did a good job, and you follow your schedule and work quickly. You don't waste time sitting around and putting off work. So for each of these items, the team member, which is you, is going to give a score. 1 means you did everything on your own. So 1 is awesome or independent. 2 is you needed a reminder of what is next. So maybe you needed some help. Maybe your boss said, hey, remember, you need to work on this next. Or you needed to look back at a schedule or list. And then a 3 is I needed to be told what to do or helped with the task. And none of those numbers are bad. A 3 just means that you're not quite ready to work independently. So I'd like you to fill out your own form. You should be able to look back on this on Unique Learning System if you log in as a student. You can also type it in if you log in, but I printed out a paper for you to fill out at home, and it looks just like that. So that is something that we will save to include in your transition passport binder when we're back at school. That is all I have for today, and that's all we've got for job evaluations this week. Next week, we're going to learn more about job categories and different career requirements, education, and experience. Bye.